Rakach dragged his feet through the rust-colored sand of the holding pen, the alien murmurs of the crowded stadium drifting over the high walls. This was meant to be an execution, not a fair fight. The Tekra didn't take prisoners, but Rakach vowed not to die easily. The gate screeched open, and Rakach stepped into the blinding sunlight of the arena, squinting at the undulating mass of aliens packed into the stands. Their thunderous roar faded to an expectant hiss as Rakach approached the arming stone and lifted his sword. Standard issue for Gladiator Corps, perfectly balanced. He slid his left hand into the worn leather grip of his shield and nodded to the announcer's box. No need to delay the inevitable. Rakach stepped into the ring's center, scuffed earth stretching to the enclosure fence. Anticipation tingled through him as another gate groaned open. He flexed his fingers around the sword hilt, rolling his shoulders. The Tekran champion burst from the shadows in a blur of scaled muscle and iron claws. Easily 9 feet tall, its serrated beak split in a screeching battle cry. The thing rushed Rakach with startling speed given its size. Rakach pivoted right, barely evading the slash of 5-inch talons. The Tekran spun with preternatural fluidity, lashing out again. Rakach darted left and bashed it across the jaw with his shield. The champion staggered, shaking its elongated head. Rakach slashed a glancing blow along its torso, drawing a hiss but failing to slow its advance. They clashed again and again under the pounding sun. Rakach dodging and weaving, landing quick strikes then rolling clear. The Tekran was tiring, movements growing sloppy. Rakach saw his opening. As it lunged, he dropped low and buried his sword deep in its abdomen. Sticky orange blood poured over his hands. The champion's legs buckled and it crashed to the arena floor with a rattling shriek. The crowd erupted in frenzied roars as Rakach yanked his blade free and raised it high. He was no execution victim after all. He was a survivor, and for now, that was enough. Rakach stood over the fallen Tekran, its lifeblood pooling on the arena sand. The deafening roar of the crowd pounded in his ears. This was just the first battle. The true test still lay ahead. The Tekra valued shows of dominance above all else. Rakach stepped one boot onto the champion's shuddering body and pressed down hard as he wrenched his sword free in a spray of viscera. More screams erupted from the audience. Rakach turned slowly, letting his gaze sweep over the countless aliens packed into the stands. He raised his gore-slicked blade high in challenge, blood dripping down his forearm. No fear, no hesitation. The message was clear. The stadium grew muted as a new gate screeched open. Rakach adjusted his grip, lungs heaving beneath his dented breastplate. He barely had time to brace himself before the next champion burst forth. This creature moved with serpentine speed, barreling straight toward Rakach. He dove right, rolling back to his feet with his shield ready. The Tekran feinted left, then slashed at his sword arm with iron talons. Rakach just managed to avoid losing his hand, feeling the graze of claws against his bicep. Ignoring the throb of pain, he slashed back viciously, carving a deep gouge across its torso. The Tekran stumbled, but did not fall. They traded blows again and again as the sun blazed overhead. Rakach's reactions grew sluggish, his strikes lacking their usual force. Blood seeped from numerous gashes along his body. Still, he fought on. He would never yield, never give the Tekra the submission they desired. As the last of his strength faded, Rakach dropped to one knee in the churned earth. He would die on his feet with a sword in his hand. The Tekran towered over him, iron claws raised for a killing blow. In that moment, Rakach felt no fear, only calm resolve. He would leave this world without surrender. The creature's talons slashed down as the crowd roared for the final kill. Rakach's world exploded into blinding pain, then only darkness.